All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar at LTK. We're really excited to talk to you about strategies for success using creator marketing in the beauty and personal care verticals. My name is Paige Govoni. I lead partnership media at LTK for our brand partners. I'm really excited today to be joined by Courtney Shields, who is a creator and founder of Dibs Beauty, as well as Rachel Anise, the beauty professor, one of the OG beauty creators. We'll be joined later by Ali Anderson, who is our Director of Strategy and Insights, who will lead us in a conversation with our creators. So we have so many partners here today on the call who we've worked with for years. Maybe they're just getting started in their creator marketing journey, or they already are considering LTK. Over the years, LTK has created so many deep relationships with beauty brands of all sizes. So we have our multi-brand retailers, we have parent beauty companies, we have single brands, but really the common thread that unites all of these different brands is the consumers shopping their products from creators. So we're really excited to dive into this today. We're hoping that everyone finds this session educational and insightful. And as a housekeeping note, this presentation will be sent to you via email after the call today. So why are we here today? Obviously, creator is at the heart. To reach success in the competitive beauty industry, creator marketing really needs to be a core strategy that your brand activates on. We'll touch on many data points in our presentation today and so many numbers, but really at the core of this, in the center of it all, is that creators are people. They really help capture the hearts and minds of consumers, which then of course translates to opening up their wallets for brands. Creator content is very engaging. Influencers create these leaned-in moments with their followers. It helps foster and deeper customer relationships and drives that emotional loyalty for brands. Creators are the most trusted form of social media compared to ads and celebrity endorsements across all generations. So we're really going to dive in deeper to this today on the why and how of this statistic in particular. So LTK is the leader in creator guided shopping, which makes us highly qualified to touch on using creator marketing to drive success across beauty and personal care. LTK is a three-sided marketplace between shoppers, creators, and brands. We have hundreds of thousands of curated creators posting content on their social media channels, linking back to their LTK, where they then host that same content with links out to brands and retailers alike for our 30 million consumers to shop from. Between campaign collaborations that our brands enroll in and the organic linking behavior from our creators, we're able to drive over 4 billion in annual trackable sales for all of these brands on our platform. This really helps our brands drive success year-round and across all categories, but of course, in particular beauty, and why we're here today. A quick agenda on what we're planning to cover. We'll go over some insights from our latest national consumer survey with beauty and personal care insights. We'll couple that with some of our LTK platform data. And then from there, we'll move into our creator panel, which I know everyone is excited to hear from. The data that we'll be sharing today comes from our national beauty and personal care shopper study that was completed at the end of May. The study is reflective of the US population with over 1,000 participants at a 97% confidence level. We'll have a few other references throughout this presentation to some other studies that LTK has completed, and these will be on our LTK Brand Central page if you want to download those full reports and learn more. So to get us started here, taking a zoomed out approach, we ask consumers what categories they shop through creators. You can see here that all generations are shopping pretty much every single category from creators, from your cleaning supplies to books to clothes, but most importantly, beauty and personal care. This ranks as #1 across every single generation, as you can see. This slide's really a testament to how consumers have really bought into creators and the lifestyles that they live. When I think about how this data can be used for beauty brands in particular, if you're in the process of maybe planning your Q4 budgets, your holiday plans, or making a case for why you should be investing more in creator marketing, or even starting to look ahead at the year 2024, this really shows how creator marketing is a good use of funds because it really drives home how consumers are shopping from creator. So we just touched on this about how creators are capturing hearts and wallets but I think this slide really helps put it into perspective. Creators are the most trusted form of social media for beauty recommendations, ranked above social media ads and celebrity posts, especially when it comes to Gen Z and millennials, with 78% of Gen Z and 61% of millennial women saying that they trust the creators the most. So this is a signal to all the brands on the call that you really need to be prioritizing creator marketing over standard social media ads if you are not already. So let's put some more numbers behind this. What does this look like with creators being the most trusted form of recommendations for shoppers? This translates to the majority of women shopping beauty and personal care online from creator recommendations. 83% of Gen Z, 71% of millennials, and 60% of the general population are making purchases on beauty through creator. So they're not only trusting these creators and watching their content, but they're taking action and they're really opening up their wallets to shop from them. Also switching gears to talk about efficiency beyond online shopping. So in our study, we also asked about in-store behavior. We found that consumers were not just utilizing creator recommendations in the moment to make purchases online, but they're making purchases in store from creator recommendations. I think this really helps drive home that creator marketing is memorable, due in part to its authentic nature resonating with shoppers. When creators post their content, they're touching on product benefits, how something might look on the skin or feel, but consumers also may want to test out that product for themselves in store or pick up a product on their next trip to the mall. So aside from this survey data here, which speaks to the in-store purchasing behavior, LTK has done tests with some of our brand partners for in-store measurement. And we see similar results here, attributing creator marketing to in-store purchasing. So this really shows the value far beyond just the e-commerce sales and that number that you're going to get in your report. It's really important to think about the halo effect that creator marketing has when evaluating your strategies and budgets and not thinking about just that last click attribution. So why does all this happen? It's because women are tuning into the engaging content that all of our creators are posting. They're watching a wide variety, as you can see here, with the different plethora of types of content, from hairstyling to get ready with me's to nail content to even vitamin routines. So it shows that it doesn't necessarily matter what the creator is posting about, but more about the engaging nature and that relationship that they've created with their followers and that authenticity that the creator has with what they're talking about. This is why 52% of women watch content from beauty or personal care. This is really drastically increases when you look at Gen Z, even more so, with 83% watching this type of content. So what has the consumers captivated with beauty content? Drilling down even further here. The theme is that the content is educational and relatable. These women like to learn about techniques and new products or brands. There's always some new tip or technique or new product to try out. Sharing a personal anecdote here, I actually shared with Courtney last week. So I had discovered the Dibs Duo beauty brush around the holiday time period. I think I saw it from a TikTok creator or on Instagram. And so, of course, I naturally nudged my boyfriend to pick this up for me for my stocking for Christmas. And unfortunately, it was sold out. And he, of course, said, oh, I can just go pick up something else at Sephora, just pick out another one. And I said, no, I need this brush. No other brush will do. The creators are raving about it. I need this. I think this is every brand's dream to have their products go viral and create a wish list. But I think this personal anecdote also just speaks to how someone might discover a product. Or on the technique front right now, I'm seeing a lot of the underpainting makeup trend. I'm sure there'll be another trending tutorial next week. There's always a new content to tune into. But the other part of why women like this content is they like to see products that are used on people that look like them or have skin conditions they can relate to, like eczema or acne. And let's also not to forget to mention that the content's entertaining. Some might even say that watching their favorite creator is like tuning into a friend. So given that women can learn and find the content relatable to them, this will really stand the test of time as time goes on. And we can't talk about content without talking about video, of course. So looking at some platform data from LTK, likely unsurprising to a lot of our audience here today on the call, video is on the rise and has been for the last few years. But this chart looks at video campaign obligations from the thousands and thousands of LTK brand campaigns that we've run over the years. Brands that partner with us have really seen this upwards trend over the last year with that video content, as you can see here on the chart. When looking at the beauty category, creators are more likely to post video content versus static compared to other product categories. Creators really listen to their audience and engage with their followers, and they see that their followers are wanting the details. They want to know about the stickiness of that lip gloss, or how that foundation lays on the skin, or how their new body wash smells, or how to use their new makeup brush. Creators are also listening to the data and what that data tells them, and they see that video sells. LTK sees 64% higher GMV per post on video content compared to static, which is huge. So it's a game changer for you as a brand to really be leaning into that video content. If you think back to the last slide about content being educational, entertaining, and relatable, the commonality here is really that it would need to be video to really have that all come to life. Consumers want video to be entertained and to be taught, all of the things that you can't necessarily fit into a static post. So this is your sign that video needs to be a part of your strategy. If not already, you really need to get on board or get behind. With all of that engaging content, creators have become such a fast-growing source of inspiration for makeup and beauty and skincare. They really revolutionize the beauty industry with their power of influence over consumers. 92% of Gen Z women say one of their beauty or wellness routines has been influenced by a creator. You can see here on this chart the beauty routines that have been influenced by creators broken down by generation. And you really see that shift of influence by creators in the beauty industry. Younger shoppers are going to continue to grow in their purchasing power, like we see with Gen Z right now. You need to be where they are being influenced. You need to be investing in creator marketing to really grow with that purchasing power. It's no longer just a point of inspiration, but it's where they're being influenced. So this is a need for brands to really maintain and grow their brand consideration over time with all of these new generations. This slide here is another chart. It is a study done by the performance marketing agency Tenuity. When it comes to discovering new beauty products, 45% of US beauty shoppers recall first hearing about the item that they purchased via social media. This makes it more useful than TV or in-store displays, according to this study. So when you combine this ad recall from the social media platforms with the trust of the creator marketing that we talked about in our earlier slides, you get a really powerful recipe for success. Again, showing beauty brands here on the call where you should really be prioritizing your ad dollars and your marketing spend when you look at this channel separation here. At LTK, we obviously have creators at the core of all our strategy here. We see consumers really being connected to the creator rather than a specific category at one moment in time. So while I may be searching for a new foundation for an event or a new mascara, ultimately, I'm always going to go back to my favorite creator for that recommendation. And that holds true for not just myself using that pronoun there. But really, we see this, of course, across all categories in our platform, that creator recommendation really being at the core and really being product agnostic. This brings us back to the beginning. Creators have captured the hearts of consumers. They've become their go-to source for any and all recommendations. This slide here is just a sampling of the beauty industry with top products that we see being inspired, being foundation, eye makeup, lip products, mascara, hair tools, and hair serums. Similarly here, another sampling of the diverse range of products that consumers look to purchase from their trusted advisors, creators within the personal care space. So we see personal hygiene products, lotions, shampoos, face wash, deodorant, and acne products. So between these last two slides, you can really tell how creators inspire purchases that's really product agnostic. Creators can really start a trend with a recommendation of a product, causing it to go viral with that content. So creators are really going to be like a sales rep for your brand. They're able to give demos and talk to your product, give a product review, and of course, ultimately recommend them and have that shared goal with yourself as a brand to sell, as LTK helps creators monetize their recommendations and track the sales for those brands. This data here is just a small sample of high growth products that we've seen over the last few months, as well as products that have over-indexed with Gen Z and millennials. So as you can see here, the product SKUs are really ranging the gamut from everything from makeup to self-tanner to hair tools to supplements. So creators are talking about their full routines and their day-to-day lives, and shoppers are really bought in on those routines and those products from creators. Creator content is incredibly powerful in terms of pushing out content to create demand and creating that trend. But what's talked about often less is the power of creator marketing in terms of pulling in demand. So creator marketing can be a really powerful search tactic, like a Google search campaign almost. When Gen Z and millennials are going to look for a beauty or personal care recommendation, they're searching creator content on social media for what creators are recommending. Insight from our study shows 54% of Gen Z say they search creator content when they're looking for a new beauty or personal care product. They rank this higher than searching on retail sites and even friends and family. Another reason why LTK is a great partner here, specifically on this topic of search, is that the creator content is also posted in our app, LTK Shop LTK. This content has those direct product links, living evergreen to show up for results when consumers are performing searches like this glimpse here, where consumers are searching for makeup bag, mascara, so on and so forth. We'd be remiss to not touch on the economy here today, specifically unpacking the lipstick effect. The lipstick effect is a theory that when consumers are facing an economic crisis, they will be more willing to buy less costly luxury goods. So instead of buying a higher price point item, like maybe a designer bag, consumers will buy an expensive cosmetic that has a lower price point, relatively speaking. According to our survey, 74% of women believe that we are in a recession, but 61% of women still plan to spend more or the same on beauty and personal care compared to last year. So this is a rest assured to our brands. Marketing investment should be continued as consumers will continue to spend. A lot of numbers on this slide here, but even though consumers state that they will spend more or the same on this category, they're still spending wisely. Overall, they're prioritizing quality when it comes to beauty purchases, and this really holds true across all generations. They know what they want to splurge on and what they want to save on by looking for a less costly alternative, but still having that same quality. This is a huge difference compared to other categories where we see price as the top priority when making purchasing decisions, as seen with our previous surveys. 43% of the general population say they will splurge on a beauty or personal care item that they value. So for some, this may look like investing in a perfume that really lasts a long time, or a clean ingredient face wash, or one of the staples in their makeup routine. 38% of the general population want to find samples before purchasing the products. They really want to make sure that product is worth the value that consumer perceives in their brain. Due in part to TikTok and creators always testing products and giving their recs, Gen Z will look to find a less costly alternative to a more expensive product, more affectionately known as a dupe. They definitely have a higher price point or higher propensity to shop from drugstores and really want to buy that dupe to test out if a creator has given a recommendation of it having high quality. There's a lot of numbers like we just said here today, but when you take a step back and think about what does this mean for your brand right now, consumers have an influx of information when they're making a purchasing decision, but knowing that quality has really bubbled to the top factor when they're making these purchasing decisions. What other channel can really highlight your brand's products, the quality of them, and the unique benefits? The answer is definitely creators. Creators are able to do that with the content that they put out there. There's no other channel that can hit on all of those product price points, their product benefits, everything that really speaks to the quality of your products. As we saw on our earlier slide, we saw that beauty is the top shopped category from creator. We see a similar trend in our LTK data. Beauty is our fastest growing category on our platform, outpacing all of the other categories, with more and more creators sharing beauty posts every single day. Out of the top performing LTK creators, 100% generated beauty sales last year, and we don't anticipate this slowing down whatsoever. We see creators who are obviously known for their beauty content and recommendations, but we also see lifestyle creators who share every aspect of their life. So that may be talking about, their get unready with me, or their get ready with me, or their supplements that they're taking in the morning. Each consumer is going to have a preference of who they want to follow, whether that be that beauty creator or that lifestyle creator. So your casting strategy is really important when thinking through your brand collaborations, in terms of making sure that you're hitting both of those types of creators to really capture all types of consumer preferences. As our webinar title stated today, Strategies for Success, it's important to follow some creator commerce best practices to stay competitive and win in the beauty and personal care industry. So we have a few things here. I won't read it all word for word, but at the top, we have solidify your program terms. You need to have a competitive commission rate so that creators are inclined to link organically to your brand, versus perhaps a more competitive multi-brand retailer who might offer your same product, but at a higher commissionable rate for creators. You need to ensure campaign success by balancing brand messaging with creator authenticity. You choose creators to work with you for a reason. You need to let them do your thing within some guardrails, of course, for your brand. We'll definitely be touching on this more in our panel discussion today. For beauty brands, it's crucial for you guys all, from a D2C perspective and multi-brand retailer, is to have that omni-channel presence. As we saw in our data today, you need to be focusing on video. Meet consumers where they are with the types of content that they crave. You should also look at amplifying top performing creator content with media boosting with LTK. Last but certainly not least, at the core of all of this, and really why we're here today, is use data to make decisions. That's why we do these surveys. That's why we do these webinars. You need to be utilizing data to make spend decisions moving forward. So you can partner with LTK. We have real-time insights and analytics dashboards to really hone in on that data for you. In an ever-growing industry, ever-changing industry, we're always innovating. It's important to look at the data to really inform those next decisions. Before we pivot to our panel, just a last couple of slides on a few of the things that LTK offers to you brands to help you round out your campaign collaborations to expand your creator marketing reach and performance with LTK. The first thing we want to touch on is our app, Shop LTK, which gives creator audiences a shopping experience unlike any other. With our 30 million shoppers, Shop LTK hosts creator content extending far beyond campaign timelines in a brand safe environment, which is huge for all of the brands on the call today. Our curated creator storefronts have the same or similar content that those creators posted on their social media channels, but it has benefits that are advantageous to shoppers, which then have these features that really work hard for brands and drive conversion. A few of the benefits of the Shop LTK app include price drop notifications for shoppers, product reviews, and the search functionality that we talked about earlier. This allows for your brand's campaign content from creators to populate when a consumer is in market and ready to shop and make that purchase. We have a network of advertising placements called LTK Ads. This is the ability to really get in front of our top performing creators and millions of shoppers. You can work with us to develop a customized ad package for a specific moment of the year, like holiday or your brand's promotions and seasonal launches, to really get in front of both of these audiences. For example, your brand could secure a newsletter placement that reaches our creator network promoting your brand's upcoming sale. This would, of course, then encourage creators to link out to your sale, promote, and really help drive that shopping activity for you. This is a crucial part of strategy with LTK to really drive awareness of your brand with creators and shoppers and develop that linking behavior in shopping. Another benefit that we offer at LTK is LTK Insights. It's who's behind the data today in this presentation. We offer a variety of incremental reporting, including a benchmarking solution. This is a report that will help your brand inform spend decisions and growth strategy moving forward. So you can work with your LTK client partner to discuss your brand's needs and really get connected to LTK Insights for your custom reporting package. As I mentioned at the top of the call, with all of our studies, we house all of these in LTK Brand Central. This is a hub for you all as brands, for creator guided shopping insights, news, and trend spotting. It includes our latest regarding retail media networks, case studies, white papers, previous surveys, and more to really grow your creator marketing knowledge and power your brand's performance. Next, we have a little nod to Christmas in July, which is hard to believe as I'm sitting here in 95-degree weather. Our next webinar will be August 16th, unwrapping holiday 2023 shopper trends. We're going to be touching on full funnel creator-led strategies to drive holiday success this year. But definitely do not wait until then to start thinking about holiday. Reach out to your client partners at LTK or get a meeting booked with us to really start testing and learning now in July and August so that you can really lock in your top performers for the busy season before they get booked up. Speaking of action, we have another exciting promotion going on today for our LTK Connect product for our smaller and medium-sized brands on the call today. Since this will be sent after, feel free to click on the link to reach out to book a meeting to learn more and get signed up and save. One more thing that we have that we're really excited about, as we say, everything is bigger in Texas. LTK is back for LTK Con, which is our renowned invite-only creator conference. It's happening again this year in downtown Dallas at the Thompson Hotel. We're bringing our top LTK creators and premium global brands for an exclusive opportunity to meet, collaborate, and discover potential partnerships. LTK Con is an unforgettable event that allows you to help build and expand your business while connecting with other fellow entrepreneurs. This event is exclusive for LTK clients, so if your brand is interested in learning more or participating, please reach out ASAP. I know you're all probably sick of hearing me talk, so I just want to say thank you. As a reminder, this deck and recording will be sent as a follow-up. Now on to the good stuff with our creator panel. I'd like to welcome Allie Anderson, LTK's Director of Strategy and Insights, Courtney Shields, creator and founder of Dibs Beauty, and Rachel Anise, the beauty professor, another beauty creator. So thank you all for joining us today. We're so thrilled to have you on the call. I know everyone's excited to hear from you. I will pass it over to Allie to get us kicked off with the panel.
Awesome. Thank you, Paige. Not tired of hearing you talking at all. That was super insightful. So thank you everyone for joining the call today. And thank you, Courtney and Rachel, for being here. At LTK, we sit really unique in the industry. We talk to brands day in, day out. We have our shopper base within our app that we have a good sense in the data on. And we also have our incredible creators that we also talk to day in and day out. So with those three sides of our marketplace, we can really put together a comprehensive strategy and comprehensive conversation for our brand partners. So right now we're going to bring the topic of beauty full circle and hear directly from creators about how beauty and personal care content has really evolved over time, what product categories these creators have focused on, and really focus on what they know about their audience. So we talked a little bit in the presentation about different categories, how to work among those categories. So we'll touch on that today as well. So without further ado, I'm excited to introduce our creators, Courtney Shields, founder of Dibs Beauty and creator, and Rachel Anise, beauty professor. Welcome.
Thank you. Excited.
Awesome. So just to kick it off, Courtney, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started as a creator, a bit about beauty and personal care content strategy. Just what do you want to share with the brands on the phone today?
I started my career in social media probably about, honestly, 10 years ago. This January will be 10 years, which is crazy. It was really before influencing was a thing, like really before what it is today. I started on LTK also originally, which I think has been really helpful as far as training my audience to shop a certain way. Now, if something isn't linked, that's the first question I get. Hey, how do I find it? Why isn't it linked? Where is it? So really, I think like training my audience over the past couple of years has been pretty major as far as conversions go for sales. And then I co-founded Dibs Beauty, and we launched about 2 years ago. September will be 2 years, and that has been a whole other journey. So I've been fortunate enough to be not only on the content creation side, but as well on the brand side as well, working with content creators. And obviously that's something that we do really heavily with Dibs because I personally believe in that in the utmost, since that's my whole career up until this point. I know how powerful that can be and where that's led me personally, professionally, and then obviously also with Dibs. So that's a little bit about me.
You're on all sides of the industry. I love it. Rachel, how about yourself? Tell the brands on the phone a little bit about how you got started, your background, what your audience is like.
Thank you. I started Beauty Professor on a whim back in 2012. So it's been a while now. And like Courtney, I think I started at a time when it was not obviously what we know the whole industry to be today. I was just an avid beauty product lover and always on the search for the hard to find luxury product that I could finally buy after paying my way through school. So I was also at the time that I started a college professor, and I still am a full-time college professor. I teach communication studies and I do beauty content full-time as well. I'm also the mom of a 5-year-old as of today. But with regards to Beauty Professor, my goal was always to just be a resource. So I think all of my writing, all of the shooting, everything I learned along the way, and it was really just learning as you go. All of that was with an intent to be a helpful resource for my audience and my community, I should say. And I started really with a quest for the foundation. I was thinking about it this morning, like what prompted me? I've always looked for like the foundation. Obviously, I read about every other topic in beauty as well, but that really prompted me. And I think it resonated with my audience early on. I would go into the store, I would be doing full spectrum swatches for all skin tones, post it on my site, answer questions. And I think that sense of community and resource was really what kind of catalyzed my site early on. My audience is comprised of people with some version of disposable income from ages 18 all the way to 60 plus. And I'm grateful for that. I don't think I fit in one niche because I cover such a spectrum of products. And so I communicate with individuals of all ages all week long. And I think that brands started reaching out to me early on because I did a lot of academic writing. So they felt like they had a voice of authority. I took that really seriously. And that credibility has been something that I think has guided me through my whole career. LTK reached out within maybe the first year of writing. And so like Courtney, been a partner ever since, and they have been an incredible, insightful partner for me in everything I do here at Beauty Professor.
No, I love to hear that. And I always think it's really interesting for our brand partners to hear how much creators know about their audiences. What you're targeting, what you're promoting, what they're buying. You're truly that salesperson, kind of like we hinted at on the call today. Courtney, I'd love to hear a little bit about your audience for your content creation, as well as for Dibs, whatever you're able to share on the brand level.
Yeah, primarily similar thing where it's anybody from 18 to 60, but primarily 25 to 35, 25 to 40 is really like the meat of our range there. And I mirror the same things that Rachel said, which is like, we talk to these women all day, every day, and I have for 10 years. And so when it came to like product creation and how to sell something or how to share something, it was really like, I knew what they wanted. I knew what they were looking for because I talked to them all day. And my story is similar in the sense that I was like the go-to person for all of my friends growing up. Like, hey, I'm going on a date. What foundation do I need? What mascara do I need? I have oily skin. I'm looking for this. And then I actually used to work at Nordstrom in the beauty department. And so I learned about like all of the brands while I was there. And I would be selling, like I was in Clinique, but I would be selling like every brand. Like they could never like centralize me in one place because I was always selling everything, because that's just sort of how my brain worked. It was like, let me find you the best of everything. And so that's really what I started doing online too, was I realized I was helping women in my everyday life. And I thought if I could translate that online and then help a lot more people at one time, that would be really cool. And I think that same thing goes for myself and for Dibs, which is like when you know what your consumers want. And I think that's a leg up that creators have, at least like good creators have, insight as to like what price point are there people shopping, what type of items, why, what day, like how does that look? And so I think that's also why it's important to give creators the freedom. If you choose a creator that you trust and you really like what they're doing, giving them that freedom to just do what they do best, I think is really important, because it allows us to sort of exercise all those insights. And that's something that I think I've definitely learned along the way. And we take that through myself and Dibs as well.
No, I think that's amazing. Both of you sound like you have a really good grasp on your strategy and your audience. So one topic we talk to brands about all the time is social channels. Where should we focus our efforts? Where should we focus our investment? Essentially, we want to, of course, be productive with our ad dollars. So we'd love your insight just regarding social channels. Which ones do you lean into? How has this space evolved? Any insight you can share? Rachel, we'll start with you, and then Courtney, you can answer.
Thank you. And one quick point I meant to say before as it pertained to LTK, and that is when I met with my LTK rep for the very first time, that's when I learned about conversions and conversion rate. I didn't know anything about that, like zero, had no, she's like, do you know what your conversion rate is? So what, like, what's a what? I had no idea. And obviously I've had a lot to learn since then, but you guys really were the first to let me understand what that was all about and why that mattered and how good it is to have a good one. And so she's like, no, 4 to 5% is great. And I was like, what? This is wild to me. So I think that's an important conversation for even later on today, but I just wanted to highlight that because you guys were the first to put that on my radar. As it comes to channels, I have a website, which is my forever focus. It's so content rich and heavy and has been there a long time. Really what started me off. I also have a YouTube channel and I also focus on Instagram. So those are my 3 sole focuses right now, strictly because I'm one person and I really want to just keep my content quality. And that's the way that's my bandwidth for doing that.
No, and I think that's a perfect answer, because at the end of the day, when we partner with creator, you have built through the years where your audience is and they're loyal. And that's why your conversion rate is clearly what it is, because you talk about something and they purchase it. Courtney, what about yourself? Kind of what's your channel strategy? How do you decide where to post, where to test, where to learn?
So for me, I've always been really big on evolve or die. Like, I know it's harsh, but it's just sort of true the way the industry works. For me, it's always been making sure that I'm at least like expanding to a degree into something else as I go. So Instagram is my primary channel. I've got over 900K on Instagram. And that was something that I used to blog back in the day heavily. And now I do it more on occasion just because I want to keep that. That's for really evergreen content. So I'll do like recipes and house stuff and tutorials and things that I know, like when there's big sales, the Sephora sale, like that kind of thing. I'll do that over there where I know I can send a lot of people. There's links in one place, but a lot of, I was finding that I was making the most money via my Instagram. And so pivoted. I still do a lot of heavy Instagram. That's still the primary channel that I earn on. I also have YouTube. And then I've built up my TikTok to over 300K in the past like 2 years. And that's been pretty amazing too. TikTok is probably my current favorite channel, to be honest. I think it's just like where I feel the most me, the most like unfiltered. And I think the key there is understanding what your goal is as a brand when you're wanting to work with the creator, and what your limitations are as well. So like certain products I would say are very TikTokable. Like certain things, when you open it up, it's like, wow, like with our Dibs Duo, it was like, you could easily open this up and be like, oh my gosh, one side's bronzer, one side's blush. And it's really like eye-catching. And so that's a great product. For TikTok, maybe then I'm sharing, like my Nutrafol or the hair stuff like over on my Instagram, because that doesn't make as much sense there. So I think it's all about knowing what your goal is. Instagram for me is always very consistent. The views are consistent. The conversion is consistent. If you have a certain amount of budget and you want to put it to something and you pretty much can predict the result with a good creator, I think that's on Instagram. If you're willing to roll the dice, that's more TikTok. TikTok is fun. You can go viral. I have videos over 4 million, and I have videos at 4,000. Like it's really sort of roller coaster over on TikTok. I think that's part of the excitement, is that you can have a really viral moment on a smaller budget, but it is more of a risk. Whereas Instagram, I think, is a little bit more predictable.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, this is a good segue into the next section, which we'll be talking about video. But to me, from a brand standpoint, the main takeaways from y'all's answers is really brands need to trust creator. You know your channel so well, you know the audience on each channel so well. And one thing we talk to brands about all the time is continuing to test and evolve as well. And so setting aside budget for test tactics, maybe on newer channels, maybe on even newer creators, whatever the diversification strategy is for that brand partner is really important in this space, because sometimes you might be surprised with what works. I mean, there's new channels popping up every single day. Take threads from, 2 weeks ago. And so it's important from a brand standpoint to know what works, know the data, but also kind of build in those test moments.
And I think too, it's choosing creators that are right for like what you're looking for in that moment. If you know that someone does really well, like for me, I do really well with video content. So if you know that someone does really well for video content, hiring them essentially for what they're good at, rather than saying like, hey, go create, 3 graphics with all this text. If that's not what they do, sort of have knowledge of the creators that you're working with, watch them, consume the content, because that's how the viewer consumes content. And you can really see from there who is good for what you're looking for.
And to Courtney's point, I have brands that will reach out to me specifically because they want what I like to call like a deep dive on a brand, and they'll want that on the website because that's where it lives in perpetuity. It builds up great SEO, and anyone looking for like a primer on that brand can go dig in and find it online, and it'll be there forever. So some brands really prioritize that, and I can offer them that. And I love doing that with brands where I really just get in there for a few weeks and research it and give somebody a really strong flavor and experience with that brand. And then other brands exactly want an interesting tutorial on Instagram, and that's where they want that content to live and how they want to communicate with their audience. And so absolutely, a brand having a really strong grasp of their vision, what they want, what their objectives are, and where they want that content to live is really important.
Yeah. I mean, again, my takeaway from this section, we just saw incredible data in the beauty industry. If anything, beauty brands should be jumping up and down from a third-party consumer research standpoint. And then hearing you both talk, it really showcases, creator marketing can be so impactful and so powerful for these brands. So shifting gears here a little bit, we've seen just remarkable change in the industry over the last year. So I'd love to talk just a little bit about your perspective on a couple of the larger topics. So video, obviously consumers can't get enough of it. Creators posting has adjusted to essentially accommodate those requests. And really the beauty industry in a whole really benefits from short form video immensely. Consumers are all of a sudden getting lifetime reviews of, I think, of how the lip gloss feels, or for me, mom with young kids, how many days I can go between like hair washes and things like that, that are stories that are really relatable for consumers in that exact moment of their life. So want to talk a little bit more about the topic of going viral. So Courtney, you touched on going viral on TikTok earlier. So I'd actually love to hear your perspective, the Dibs makeup brush story from earlier. Paige and I talked to you a little bit about those. We saw some of the Dibs makeup brush data within our presentation, how it's like one of the top sold products. It's truly every brand's dream to have that, that wait list and see their product go viral. I'd love just for you to talk a little bit to the brands on the phone. How did you bring that to life? How did you make that happen? And then Rachel, we'll shift gears and talk about different trends that you've seen go viral.
So it's interesting when it comes to Dibs, because all of the products that we've launched so far have been my ideas, like from ideation to creation to launch. And so for me, this was like my baby. And when I had the idea that like there is no other brush on the market like this, one size for cream, one size for powder, there just isn't anything like it. And that's honestly been the case for a lot of our products. I've sort of like been able to find the holes. And I think that when it came to this brush, I knew it was going to sell because I knew my audience and I knew like how to share it in a way that would be exciting for people. And then luckily with Dibs, I try to just make sure that like every product is always worth the hype. And so when someone gets it, it's really easy to say, it's what you were saying earlier. It's really easy to say, you know what, it's a makeup brush. Like how great can it be? I can just go. It's like, no, it isn't just a makeup brush. It's the makeup brush. Why is it the makeup brush? And so I think sort of differentiating it in that way was helpful. And then it sort of, it packs a punch. Like the product speaks for itself, if that makes sense. Like it backs itself up. So when you do try it, when it starts getting in people's hands, then it spreads like wildfire because it's good. So if you create products that are good and you really believe in what you have created, finding the right people to share those products will go a long way, because the goal is like to get that into people's hands. And then once it's in people's hands, they tell their 10 friends, and it's this like grassroots thing. We ended up like on the Today Show and all these other things with the product because people just loved it. And I think like it made sense for people, and it was coming from a really genuine place of like, I think this is something that you guys are really going to love. And that goes to the point of working with creators that believe in the brand, working with creators that are authentic to what you do. And for me, I see a lot of brands making the mistake, honestly, of working with creators that have never once shared their product, that the product makes no sense for, that, you know, like it doesn't make sense. If I was sitting here telling you guys, you know, here's how you can like have blonde hair, you'd be looking at me like I had 3 heads, because like I don't have blonde hair. Or here's how, you know, this is what you should do if you have really skinny eyebrows. And it's like, well, you don't have really, like, this isn't authentic to you, right? So it's like finding creators that are authentic to what you're doing. So I also encourage brands to always look at who's tagging you, who's using the products organically. At Dibs, I kind of like to reward those creators in a way by working with them and really sort of like pursuing the people that are organically pursuing us. So it feels like this really mutual thing, because that's organic. That's how you're going to sell something. If I say, this is my favorite lip gloss in the world, and I go to do a post with Dibs, I've probably already talked about this 3 times. And so the audience almost roots for you when you get a deal like that, because they're sitting here saying, oh my gosh, you've shared this. That's so cool that the brand reached out to you and they want to work with you now. So really keeping your partnerships authentic and making it make sense. I think that's a big way that we've created those viral moments, has been like really making it make sense, because I think we're in a day and age where people can smell authenticity or the lack thereof 100 miles away. I think that's major. Yeah.
No, I mean, that's great. And we talk all the time at LTK about just the trust that creators have with their community. It's essentially community, and creators always outrank other digital mediums when we ask that question in our surveys. And I think it's, again, that authenticity that you've personally built. It feels like you're a friend or a family member giving that recommendation.
And I think that's the difference in a really good creator and then just a creator, right? Because for me, if I choose to work with Armani Beauty and I'm sharing that foundation today, maybe then if I know I'm going to end up working with Lancome, maybe that's in a couple of weeks, like it's not going to be tomorrow, right? Because in my everyday life, I do obviously use more than one foundation for different occasions and different things. That's authentic to who I am. But it wouldn't be to post it the next day. So also making sure that, again, the creators that you work with are mindful because of their authenticity. So it's not just like, how many posts can I squeeze in? How many things can I do to like earn a check? It's like, how is this being perceived by my audience? Does this look authentic? And how do I sort of map out my calendar? And again, you really learn that information from consuming people. If you're watching people and they have 4 ads a day and 2 of them are foundation, and it's probably not going to come off that authentic. So really consuming the people that you're interested in. I encourage you guys to make sure you have like team members consuming the content of people that you're thinking about working with. I think it goes a long way.
The spacing is so important. I love that you said that, because I think about that all the time. When a brand approaches me, I'm like, okay, what do I have on my calendar now? How do we treat this with the utmost of respect, so it's a win-win across the board? And sometimes it'll be like, yes, I'd love to work with you. I've covered this product before, which once again, it is like a reward. You feel so much better about that when you've already given them earned media. But you go, the best way this is going to be executed is to do it next month, because I'm already finishing this up and I need to have that time for things to percolate. You need that space sometimes.
Definitely. And it's natural to use more than one product, right? Like it's natural when a shampoo and conditioner runs out, you try a new shampoo and conditioner, and that's like very normal. That's how consumers purchase things as well, unless they just find like a ride or die product and they keep going with it. But I think like really picking people that are doing it right in that capacity, and where like more isn't necessarily more.
Sometimes I'll get messages from followers who'll be like, I can't believe, they're so sweet, very supportive. Like, I can't believe this brand is working with these people, no shade on them, right? But that, like, you've covered this a million times. You're the reason I've bought this for years on end. When they pick this person who can't even pronounce the brand correctly, you're like, what's up with that? And I'm like, hey, I have nothing to do with these decisions, but it's really helpful insight. And I think super helpful for a brand to be cognizant of, because the audience, the consumer, is noticing that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And I think that's a great kind of move into our next big topic. But before we do that, I want to make a point for the brands on the phone. Both Rachel and Courtney talked about knowing who the audience is. Have they posted the product before? Is it authentic for them? Going back to that trust and authenticity. So just a nod again to LTK's data, since we are, after seeing the presentation, we're very clearly rooted in the data after, several slides of numbers on a page, but we can see what creators are driving those links, what creators are driving those clicks, that traffic, ultimately that sale to your brand partner. And so really when we think about a casting strategy for your individual brand at LTK, it is so custom and it's deep rooted in the data. So we could, approach Rachel or Courtney and say, hey, we noticed you've linked to this shampoo, 40 times. What about a partnership? Like, the time has come. But no, I guess the other big theme that we've seen at LTK is really just a shift in our consumer base being influenced across all categories. So we talk about like the food you're buying at the grocery store, to the trips you're taking, to the types of beauty products you're purchasing. So we've seen a shift in consumers purchasing both, luxury beauty, everyday personal care. That's how a normal consumer shops. And it really ladders up to that shift in Gen Z and millennial trusting creator recommendations the most digitally. That's kind of, the common theme of this conversation. So Rachel, I'd love to start with you. Have you adjusted beauty content in the last year with changing consumer behavior? What have you kind of done with natural shifts of ebbs and flows over time with consumers?
Absolutely. I think you definitely, as a creator, need to be dialed into your environment. Context is everything. Being hyper aware of that is healthy. And for me, I have definitely increased my video. I mean, I've always had a YouTube channel. I'm not adverse to video, but I've definitely increased video, knowing that it's a really strong conduit for reaching audiences. They're used to it. They like it. I think everyone has like a movie in their mind at all times, especially when it comes to making a purchase. You imagine yourself like, how would I be with this thing? And video helps people to really, truly envision that, manifest that, and maybe compel them to embrace that purchase and enjoy it in a new way, or see themselves using it in a new way. So I think that's one thing I definitely focus on. I think video is really, it can be more spontaneous. It feels more genuine and authentic, less premeditated sometimes if you do it that way. And also it's like less filtered, which I like. I'm not a big fan of using filters in general. I want people to see it like on my real skin. Definitely will always look for the good light, but I want people to see on my real skin the whole thing. And so I think video, when you're keeping it like that, really gives people a strong sense of what that's all about. In addition, like when it comes to the products that I cover, I definitely start with a laser focus on luxury beauty and skincare. That's always been my field of expertise, and it will always be. It's a passion. But I've definitely expanded my product discussions to products in other categories as well, price points. I think that's helpful. I think that's realistic, and it's realistic to my own day-to-day as well, because yes, I love luxury beauty, but I've got products at all price points here that I use regularly. And I think when you diversify, you reach a larger audience. They can appreciate your content in a new way. I did a skincare video just recently that had a diverse kind of level of products. It was on the Today Show today. Like, someone saw it, they said, okay, this is covering everything. This will reach a large audience. I think that's just a testament to how you can really be inclusive with your audience, who, everyone's in a different phase of life and have different spending habits. So making sure you're reaching them effectively and sincerely, I think, is very important. And it's gratifying for me too, because I love to continue that conversation in all areas.
Both of you on the Today Show. Look at y'all. Anyways,
Well, morning.
that's a really, really good point. And it's something brands ask us all the time. They're like, who should we work with? Courtney, back to your point, on a foundation campaign. Who should we work with on a mascara campaign? And I think at the end of the day, what it comes down to is your audiences are likely going to purchase whatever you promote if you authentically believe in it and use the product yourself. And so really where we start is kind of looking at that data at LTK, figuring out that authenticity between that creator and the brand. And it's less about that category like we saw in those slides, but more so about your audience and what they're purchasing and what they're interested in at the moment. We have a few minutes left, so I want to make sure we get to a couple more questions. Courtney, I'd love for you also to touch on kind of how your content has adjusted over the last year. What changes have you seen?
I think that TikTok has done a really good job of integrating life and sale. And I think that Instagram still converts better. But I think that we've seen people sharing about their day while they're getting ready. And we've so I think that on TikTok, you're starting to feel like you really know these creators, whereas there was more of like a division of church and state over on Instagram. It's either you're selling or you're sharing about your life. I think TikTok has kind of managed to do both. Now, again, I think we still have a ways to go as far as conversion goes on TikTok. Finding best practices for that is definitely different than Instagram, when it's just as easy as swiping up on something, clicking out. But my content creation has also changed and evolved with Dibs as well, just sort of as I've like gotten older, and now that I'm a mom and like I share things in a different way, I've tried to find a balance between being open and sharing my life and still having privacy to a degree. Whereas I used to show, like I show my daughter on the way to soccer camp, here she is. It's like now I would never show her jersey or something just out of like a safety thing. But I think finding ways to integrate life and sales is like really important, and finding creators that are doing that, I think is where you can have a sweet spot, because your people are really like, they're invested in you as a person, which is why it doesn't matter if I say buy this brush or buy this matcha, they're going to want to go and get it because they trust my recommendation. Like you said, it's like talking to a friend, but I think you get that with a little bit of that rapport with your audience.
Yeah, it's the good, bad, and ugly of social media, like you said, church and state. But I think one point you really hit on is bringing it home is making sure that you're, you're linking to a variety of audience that is productive for your audience. So again, you know your audience, you've adjusted your content strategy, your channel strategy over the course of the year. And one thing we talk about with brands is that full funnel approach. So you want to be where the consumers are. The consumers, especially Gen Z, they are on TikTok. So from a brand lens, knowing that going into it, you're not going to see those conversion numbers there, but it's important to meet consumers where they are to impact that consideration set. So when you think of just, that consideration, when you go to Instagram and you see for the 50th time the Dibs makeup brush, you're going to swipe up and you're going to purchase it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think I would encourage all the brands to have not have a rigid view of ROI always, because I think that there are moments where like if your main goal is for sales and sales only, like you need to pick specific creators who are going to get that done for you. But there are other ways to have like a really rich ROI on things. And a lot of that is that brand recognition. Like Dibs is all over TikTok. Are we selling as much on TikTok as we are on Instagram? Like probably not, but like at the same time, it's like you see it everywhere and eventually it is going to drive that purchase. And so I think just making sure that there's not such a rigid view on what an ROI looks like when you're thinking about working with creators, because creators can really do like this grassroots thing in social media and just have this ability to like take a product and send it out everywhere. If it's done right, but like sometimes that takes time and that takes sharing. And that's why the authenticity of the creator is so important, because that takes the creator sharing it more than the one time that you're paying them for, right? But
because they
really
want to keep sharing.
Yeah, because they want to, because they like it, because it's authentic to them and it makes sense. And I'll even see creators that are really good. I know in my mind, because I got offered the same campaign that they, got offered to share something and they're sharing it like a week early. Like it's strategic and it's smart. And I think picking those creators is important, but just making sure that you have sort of an open view as far as like what that ROI could be, because there are a lot of ways to really get your products and your brands out there. It's not necessarily just about that initial sale.
And I think about like the best brand deal being a win-win-win. It's a win for the brand, like the brand is getting visibility, conversions, whatever that objective may be. It's a win for the creator because they're continuing to exercise the authenticity of their voice if they're genuine. And it's a win for the consumer. Like they're getting something that they didn't have before that now they're loving, that's enriching their life in any way. I think if you look at every deal, hopefully with those objectives in mind, it's a win on all three areas, then it's a really good brand deal. Like it's unequivocally good. And that's the way I like to structure things when I'm working with brands. It's got to be good for all three.
Yep. You're handpicked in who you're linking to and working with. So that's very, very smart. But we are up on time. This conversation went so fast. I feel like we could keep talking about the beauty industry for years here. Still have a lot more questions and insight. I know that the team would love to hear you guys answer, but unfortunately we're at time. But just want to thank both Courtney and Rachel for being here today. You guys are such icons in the industry that I know a lot of our brand partners on the phone look up to and respect. So thank you so much. And then the brands on the call, thanks for taking the time to listen to us today. Hear all the data and insights we had to share. If you're not convinced on why you should work with Creator yet, reach out so we can continue to have that conversation, especially going into holiday. Now's a really, really key time to start that conversation and that strategy and lock in that essential market share with prime creators. So thank you, everyone, and we appreciate your time today.
Hey, thank you guys.
Bye.